Okay, so as James said, my name is Ollie Sharpe. I'm VP. I was VP. I'm Managing Director of EMEA here at Sales Loft, and I'm going to talk to you about the importance of self-awareness in sales and leadership. So if I can just ask everybody before I start talking, just to stop everything you're doing and just think about how you feel. Okay, this isn't a rah-rah thing to start an event off. It's to understand how you feel about yourself. Okay, so what was your mood when you woke up this morning, and what made you feel like that? How do you feel now? What's happened to impact that feeling that you've got, and how do you act when you feel the way you currently do? Also, how do others react to you when you're in the mood that you're currently in? If you already knew the answers to these questions, you might be in the small percentage of people that are actually self-aware. So I remember when I moved from sales into leadership quite a few years ago, and I found certain things really frustrating. I didn't understand why people didn't do things the way I would do them, or I wanted them to do them. I didn't listen to others because I thought I always had the answer. Now, I didn't know my weaknesses, so I didn't know how or where I needed to develop. I was a top salesperson, so surely I was just going to be a good leader. That's what I thought in my mind. Now, the first team I built, everyone was similar. I thought that'd make a great culture. Their strengths didn't complement my weaknesses or each other's weaknesses. That's like putting together a football team of centre forwards. It just doesn't work. So I also didn't see my unconscious biases. I nearly didn't hire one of the best AEs I've ever hired because of their LinkedIn profile. That was my own bias that made me think that. But I sought feedback to how to be a better leader. And although hearing feedback was tough, it hurt sometimes, it helped me to become more self-aware and improve as a leader. Now, I'm not saying I am self-aware. I just try to be more self-aware, but it is a journey. For me, some of the toughest times have been the most impactful. The times I've come home upset with what someone said, it was actually honest feedback that once you get over that, then you listen to it, you understand it, and that's what's helped me improve the most. So self-awareness is the conscious knowledge of one's own character, feelings, motives, and desires. Put simply, it's about yourself, how you see others and how you react. It's about paying attention to your thoughts and your feelings and your emotions, your physical sensations, reactions, habits, and behaviors. Your character, feelings, motives, and desires are formed by your experience and your values, by so many things, some from your early life, about how you were parented and all of these kind of things, some from more recent times and some from the current moment. Self-awareness impacts so much in our lives, personally and professionally. It impacts our communication, our relationships, and our success, to name a few. Now, Tasha Eurich is a specialist in this field, an organizational psychologist, researcher, renowned speaker, and New York Times best-selling author, all around self-awareness. And she says that 95% of people think they're self-aware, but really only 10 to 15% are. So the process of trying to become self-aware can be painful, but it's also about slowing down to learn and understand yourself in order to speed yourself up. So it's a worthwhile investment. Tasha Eurich, which you will hear quite a bit about today, uses the 4 self-awareness archetypes. She explains that self-awareness is the ability to see ourselves clearly, to understand who we are, how others see us, and how we fit into the world. Down the left, you've got the internal self-awareness. That's how well we know ourselves or yourself. On the right, on the top, we've got external self-awareness. This is how well you understand how others see you. Okay. And when you map the different types of people into this grid, with low internal and external, with low internal and external self-awareness, what we call seekers. They don't know who they are or how they're seen. They might struggle with performance and relationships. Next, we've got the introspectors. Introspection is the examination of your own mental and emotional processes, just thinking inwardly. So introspectors have high internal self-awareness, but low external self-awareness. They don't seek feedback from others, and this limits them. Research shows that introspectors are more stressed and depressed, less satisfied with their jobs and relationships, and less in control of their lives. And the more introspective people become, the more all of these increase. Next, we have the pleasers. The name gives it away a little bit. They have high external self-awareness, they're always thinking about everybody else, but lack internal self-awareness. So they focus on what others think, and this impacts their decisions and their fulfillment. And finally, we have the part we want to be in, which is the aware part. These have high internal and external self-awareness. They know who they are and they seek other people's opinions and feedback. This is where we really see the true benefits of self-awareness. And as mentioned, 95% of people think they're in this box, but only around 10 to 15% of people are. So people that are self-aware are more fulfilled. They build stronger relationships. They're more creative, more confident. They're better communicators. They're less likely to lie, cheat, and steal. They perform better at work, and they're more likely to be promoted. Now, they become more effective leaders with more successful teams. In a study by Korn Ferry, they found that self-awareness impacts a company's bottom line. They found that companies with stronger financial performance tend to have employees with higher levels of self-awareness. However, self-awareness in leaders is in short supply and differs depending on gender. Now, there's benefits to it, but there's not loads of them around. So in a study of 17,000 people worldwide, the Hay Group found that 19% of women executives exhibited self-awareness, compared to just 4% of their male counterparts. So another reason why we should have more females in leadership. Self-awareness, or the lack of self-awareness, impacts a number of things in business, and it's key in lots of business and leadership models that we hear of all the time and that we use. In the chimp paradox, Steve Peters explains the limbic part of the brain. The chimp is the quickest to react, but the chimp doesn't always react in a measured way that we want. It very rarely does. It just reacts on the spot. So we need to understand and train our chimp, and all of our chimps are different. To do this takes a lot of self-awareness. Lack of self-awareness leads to increased conflict within a team. And for positive and fair conflict resolution, the top ones in the top right and the middle, specifically compromising and collaborating, self-awareness is required. Also, self-awareness is one of the core components of emotional intelligence. And we know how powerful emotional intelligence can be. It can be the most challenging of the 4 areas of emotional intelligence to develop, but if you do, it can boost your mental health, job performance, and leadership skills. Self-awareness is key when it comes to being a mindful leader. It relies on knowing yourself and understanding others. It's about not judging or assuming, and to do this, we need to be aware of our own unconscious biases to make them conscious. It's about being present and understanding how others might see us. Now, also for anyone that's read Mindset by Carol Dweck or is looking to develop a growth mindset, that too relies on self-awareness, requiring you to understand what you learned from your performance, what you did that worked, how you can improve, what else you could have done, and how you dealt with adversity. So you can see how important it is when we're talking about all of these other models. They rely on high level of self-awareness for you to be good at these other models. So how does it impact us in sales and leadership? It impacts our relationships and how you're seen. So within your own business, it impacts your internal brand, the relationships you have with other team members, colleagues, and also leadership. In the market, it impacts your external brand. Your self-awareness impacts how your customers and prospects see you while you're communicating directly in meetings or over emails or on social media. Showing high levels of self-awareness while posting on social media can have a positive impact. All of this in turn impacts your success and the amount of people you can actually sell to. Lots of salespeople lack active listening skills. They think about their pitch or their next question and what they will say next, rather than being 100% present and listening to understand. By doing this, we become more self-aware, actually listening in the moment. Also, your self-awareness impacts you and your success. If you don't know your weaknesses, you don't know how or where you need to develop. And also when to lean on others. Basically, because it impacts your success and how those around you see you, it impacts your future career opportunities. And when we look at leaders, self-awareness is said to be one of the most important qualities. Self-aware leaders tend to be reflective of their own thoughts, observant of their environment, empathetic of others, perceptive, responsive, humble, aware of their shortcomings and errors, and much more. It also impacts how your team see you as a leader. So in turn, how much of a true leader you are and how well you retain your team. It impacts your employer brand. So it impacts the types of people you can actually access. It also impacts the skills if it impacts the skills you look for when building the team. Are you building a team with diverse skills where you know people's strengths and weaknesses so they all complement each other and your own? So Viktor Frankl was an Austrian neurologist, psychiatrist, philosopher, writer, Holocaust survivor. And he talks about between stimulus and response, there is a space and we should use it to choose how we respond. It's very much like the chimp paradox. And I really like this quote because it's something that I had to become more aware of. I found in meetings and while I was talking to my team, I would just respond quickly. And it's not always the best thing to do. So this helped me a lot by actually thinking, okay, choose how you respond. So understand your emotions, how it's impacted you and respond. So how do we actually develop our self-awareness? First of all, know yourself. Know your strengths and your weaknesses. Self-awareness is about ongoing self-reflection. Understand your beliefs and your behaviors, and because they help determine what your values are, which impact how you act. Also, know and understand your moods and how they affect your actions. Your mind works in all of our minds works in a certain way. And this chain helps us understand it of how we think about things and how we react. So your thoughts generate feelings, which influence your actions, which deliver results. So when you have those thoughts, so if you understand how you feel, then you can influence your action and it will give you different results. It's good to understand this so that we can have a base rate of reacting to things. It's also handy to check in on our moods and emotions. I know that what I found a few months ago, I was anxious about a couple of things or stressed. And what I found was when I actually drank coffee, it made me worse. And my anxiety or stress level increased. So what happened from me working that out is every time I made a coffee in the morning, I would stop and I would think, okay, should I be drinking this? Is it going to make me worse because it wasn't worth it? And it actually made me check in on my moods every morning when I woke up. And I saw a massive benefit in that because I could actually think, okay, why do I feel like that? What's made me feel like that? And I would advise anybody to have a sort of a check-in to understand their moods. One good way of thinking about it is by using an emotions wheel. It helps you to understand your emotions. So naming or labeling our emotions is an important first step in dealing with them effectively. Sometimes it's hard to identify exactly what we're feeling. Sometimes the most obvious label isn't actually the most accurate. So this leads us to deal with them in the wrong way, or at least makes us less aware. The better we can diagnose our emotions, the better we can understand ourselves and what's made us feel that way. We might feel angry, which we can see in the center in red, but anger covers a whole spectrum of emotions. And we'll need to take a different approach if we're dealing with betrayal, for example, compared to if we're dealing with something like feeling withdrawn. If we understand the true emotion on the outside of the wheel, we can better understand how it affects us and what we should do. If you understand your emotions, you've got better chance of knowing what your triggers are. Triggers are the things that make you feel a certain way. Self-awareness is about being aware of your own positive and negative triggers. Some things make you feel positive, some things make you feel negative. Understand them. You can't control your emotions, but you can influence how you choose to react. So Tasha Eurich, in her research, found that people that are truly self-aware, that 10 to 15%, they don't ask why. Okay, they ask what. I struggled with getting my head around this a little bit when I first started reading it, but not why do I feel so terrible? What they say is, and this was taken from research from finding these people and understanding how they thought, what are the situations that make me feel terrible and what do they have in common? Understand and get rid of limiting beliefs. Okay, those beliefs that stop you think about them and stop and think, are they actually my beliefs or are they true? Identify how people react to you. Identify what factors, triggers, and indicators, positive and negative, prompt others' behavior towards you. And look for patterns. Notice when you receive positive responses from your communication and actions. They're good. Work out when you get negative ones. Find ways that you can show more empathy. Considering the feelings of others as you communicate and make decisions is another way to show self-awareness, and paying attention to the emotional needs of others can help guide your decisions and relationships. Be aware of others, understand other people's strengths and weaknesses. Whether you're building a team or part of a team, you can learn from other people's strengths. And if building a team, we know that teams are built with best teams are built with diverse skills. The 8th one, when it clicks right, is gather trusted feedback. Now, it's really hard to separate your personal bias when assessing yourself. Asking others to give input is one way to gain a broader picture of who you are and how you relate to others. One key sign of low self-awareness is being unaware of your personal blind spots. So ask your colleagues how you react, how you and respond in a given moment. You might identify patterns. Now, this can help you influence and overcome your unconscious behaviors. Then with self-awareness, what we can do is we can create new neurological pathways by creating new habits in our brains to change the old habits. One tool that's used is the JOHARI window. This is an exercise for understanding and training self-awareness and personal development. It helps people to better understand their relationship with others and themselves. Created in 1955 by two psychologists, the standard exercise is to choose words to describe a specific person. You should do it about one person, but there's a group of you. They choose the words by themselves and also the people that they know within that group. The window has got 4 panes. 2 of them represent what is already known to the individual or self, and the other 2 panes represent the parts unknown to the self. Now, in the exercise, information transfers from one pane to another through asking feedback from the rest of the group and telling or sharing of information to the rest of the group from the individual. By asking questions and telling things, the aim is to expand the open area. Okay, at the top left, we've got the open area. Here, the information is about the person, their attitudes, behaviors, emotions, feelings, everything about that person. And it's about what is known by the person as well as by others. Okay, so they're open about it and they know about it. It represents the area where all the communication happens. The larger it becomes, the more effective and dynamic the relationship becomes. Then we've got the blind pane, top right. This represents information about the person that other people know, but the person in question is totally unaware of. This is the feedback. This is perhaps the most interesting quadrant of all, when what others know about you that you didn't recognize about yourself is revealed. You discover how others really see you. That's what has got the potential to drive the change and drive the external self-awareness that so many people don't have. These blind spots, when we're doing the exercise, are reduced. And all the information that person didn't know comes back into the open area. Okay, so it's by asking the questions. At the bottom left, you've got the hidden area. This information is that is known to the person, but will remain unknown to others unless they share it with the group. This area normally holds personal information like feelings, fears, secrets, and past experiences. You might feel reluctant to reveal these, and that's fine. I'm not saying give away all your secrets. Sometimes feelings and personal information may be too sensitive or strictly private. It might have an impact on the relationship. It's your choice. But if you're in a trusted environment, it's important to reduce this hidden area with open disclosure. That will move hidden facts into the ever-increasing open pane. And the 4th pane to the bottom right is the unknown area. This is where information that neither the person or others are aware of. They're unknown to everybody. This might be information, feelings, capabilities, talents that can be unknown for a lifetime, or you might discover at some stage. Open communication is also an effective way to increase the unknown area. Learn things neither of you knew. This can make the group become more effective in their communication. Actively seeking feedback from others is key to decreasing those blind spots while you're increasing the open area. And through revealing all of this information as a two-way thing about yourself to the others, the open pane can also be increased by moving it downwards to the hidden area of the pane as well. So this is Rumi, 13th century Persian poet. I'll be 2 seconds. Please, talks about yesterday I was clever, so I want to change the world. Today I'm wise, I'm changing myself. Remember, self-awareness is the ability to see ourselves clearly, to understand who we are and how others see us. It impacts relationships, our brand, and our success. Look to understand yourself and to understand how others see you. Don't be afraid to seek feedback. It can be painful, and we all make mistakes, but be open about it, and that's how we learn. Thank you, Owen. That is that.